Oh, okay. Here we go. Broadcasting live from the IRSMedic studios, it's Parental Advisory. And we're live on Parental Advisory. Today, Anthony, we're talking about the PATH Act. The House and Senate passed the PATH Act, or Protecting Americans from the Tax Hikes Act of 2015 law. Say that 10 times fast. Year after year, Congress would make temporary extensions on tax breaks that they decided to make permanent. We're not going to talk about every single part of the PATH Act. We would be here for hours.
No, we would lose our listeners too.
We want to touch on some important things.
Yeah, we were looking at some of the bigger ones here, and bigger ones for self-employed, those who are employed, those who are doing some real estate investing, those who tend to be, I guess, the clients of Parental a little bit.
There you go.
More.
So state and local sales tax deduction, mortgage debt exclusion, expensing bonus depreciation, and what self-employed and small businesses should look out for actual good news.
Yes.
Good news.
Yes, good
everyone.
news. Yeah. And what's funny about this is they signed this into bill December 18th, 2015. The Republicans and Democrats and president and all these people who can't get along, and miraculously, all of a sudden this is passed. And it's sort of the craziness you have to deal with when you're trying to advise someone on, well, what should I do about this? What should I do about this? And we're basically saying, well, watch the news because we don't know.
Yeah.
Some of what's went into place here is actually retroactive for 2015. And I'm looking at some of the credits. I'm like, oh, this is, as I was reviewing this, I'm like, oh, this is going to be good for me.
Now, they can actually make changes retroactively up until...
Oh, don't give me an ass date, but I know that retroactive tax laws all happen all the time.
Yeah.
So it is somewhat hard to, sometimes people are, when they talk to their CPA, their tax advisor, they're saying, well, I think this is what's going to pass. This is what looks like it's going to pass. And there's all these various lobbies that are strong, and they're the ones who are able to get this going. And politically, I think this is very interesting. Because as a self-employed small business person myself, or medium business person now, maybe I'll elevate myself there, my tax bracket isn't really what kills me. What kills me is having to pay taxes on money that isn't quite mine. That is, this is the money I need for operations. This is the money I need for expansion. I don't mind. Look, if I have money actually coming into me, like, okay, great, fine. But usually what I'm trying to do is reinvest everything I have as much so I can grow the business and, have fun, do all those things I want to do. Mm-hmm. And this is really what PATH Act does. It does a lot of great things to help small businesses grow, not have to pay taxes on what they're going to grow with. So it's kind of like, in a way, you're deferring your growth the way any 401k would. You really don't have to pay taxes on it until that time you're actually stripping out the profits, which is really the way it should be. But a lot of times when you're buying capital goods, no, you have to pay taxes on your entire profit, even though you just spent this money on a capital good, and they'll give you a tiny bit of depreciation credit for it, which doesn't work out. It just makes it very difficult to expand. So, it's just one of those things. People spend a lot of times looking at tax rates, and that's not necessarily the thing that kills small businesses or medium businesses.
Well, let's start first with permanent extensions for individuals. And the first thing we want to talk about is state and local sales tax deduction. The election to claim an itemized deduction for state and local general sales tax in lieu of deducting state and local income taxes expired after December 31st, 2014. The act makes the election permanent. What does that mean? Right.
They really went out of their way so that you couldn't understand a damn thing they're saying. God, why do people... All right. So basically it's this. If you live in Florida or Texas, you have high sales tax. You don't have any income tax. Guess what? You can't deduct those. You can't itemize your deductions for those. But if you live in a high income tax state like Connecticut or New York, you can deduct your income taxes. Well, that's not quite fair, I suppose, because these are the revenues your state is generating. This allows you to make permanent that you're allowed to deduct your sales tax you pay in these states, so you can hang on to those and deduct those as opposed to not being able to deduct anything. Now, of course, some states like ours have both. We have an income and a sales tax. We only get one. choose one or the other. For most people, it is the income tax that's going to be a little bit higher.
Got it. Okay, so what about the transit benefits parity?
Oh.
Just quickly.
Yeah, quickly. Yeah, this one's just fun. I just like that. Well, if I ride my bike into work every day, there's a $20.
For the whole year?
$20 a month.
Oh, $20 a month.
So $20 a month. So I'm like, wait a second. I could put a bike rack and we can have 25 bikes here. 25. Okay. We could do pretty good here. I think we could get that's $500 a month.
All right.
So I think people are going to have to start, bringing their bike in. $20. That's just hilarious.
It is. It's awesome.
That's the hipster lobby was quite large this year. Hey guys, riding my fixie into work and I'm not getting any credit. I really should. I'm keeping a car off. Lower thing.
Somebody give that guy $20 to shut him up.
Give him $20.
All right. The next one that we'll talk about is the mortgage debt exclusion.
This is wild. The mortgage debt exclusion has really, where it started out with before any of this was pretty horrible. And this is where a lot of people would first hire us. That they would have a house maybe they borrowed, maybe they got a second line of equity on it, maybe they didn't, but whatever the case is, they ended up owing more on the house than what it was worth. They were foreclosed on, and then the IRS sent them a bill to say, oh, well, this is all your mortgage company got for your house, say $200,000, and you owed them $300,000. Therefore, you have $100,000 forgiveness of debt. Therefore, you have unreported $100,000. Therefore, you owe us $20,000 plus penalties and interest, $30,000. That's what used to happen in 2006 and 2007. People would come in like, I don't have anything. I just lost my freaking house. Now here's the IRS sending me a bill for how am I going to pay this? What the hell? I don't have the house anymore.
Right.
So it was somewhat of an outrage. And then the first response to it made pretty much sense, but I think I could understand the issue with it. Their first response, and I think this is in 2011 or 12, they created a test for insolvency that if you were insolvent during the time of a foreclosure, then you did not need to report that you didn't need to claim that income. You would have to fill out a schedule. A lot of people forget to fill out that schedule. Those are fun calls. Somebody calls like, oh my God, I owe all this money to the IRS. I don't know what to do. How much is it going to cost to hire you? We say, you actually just need to fill this form out and it will go away. Oh. Nice. Right.
That was a good phone call I just made.
Yeah. But the problem, that insolvency test, it's basically really the honor system.
Sort of like riding your bike to work?
Yeah, right. Prove to us you rode the bike. Oh, there's a bike rack. I looked at that insolvency test, and basically anyone would pretty much qualify it, with the exception of maybe 100. Anyone has a claim to qualify for it. So it was a very wide exception to go through. So, something probably didn't make all that much sense. But now, with what they did in the PATH Act, is they got rid of that entire insolvency question. You don't need to be insolvent, and you could have a primary. It has to just be a primary. And this is kind of unfair, because some people with investment properties, they've lost all this money over these years, and they've gotten foreclosed. It still counts as income.
Oh, okay.
It still does, even though you kind of got the same raw deal. No, it's only primary residences. So maybe move into your, there. But it goes up to $2 million. So your primary residence of up to $2 million if you're married.
Wow.
Is excluded if you are foreclosed upon. And we were talking earlier that some of these seem a little bit, it can be a little bit unfair to people who don't take advantage of that, because a lot of these times people are, refinancing the house, unlocking that equity potential in their house, living high on the hog. They had all this money they were spending, and now, oops, I can't pay it, and now they don't have to pay the taxes on it. And, that definitely seems what it is on the outside, but I could tell you the people that have done this, they've paid. Mm-hmm. They're not in the house anymore. And, it's really hard to go from a lifestyle that's very high to one that's okay. Mm-hmm. Just going to okay is excruciating. So I wouldn't worry so much about what they're getting away with.
Got it. All right, now we'll talk about some extenders for businesses. Section Code 179, expensing. It says pre-act the dollar limit for Code Section 179 expensing for 2015 had reverted to $25,000 with an investment limit of $200,000. The Act permanently sets the Code Section 179 expensing limit at $500,000 with a $2 million overall investment limit before phase-out. What does that mean?
This is what's critical for small businesses, medium businesses.
Okay.
Okay, because what you're doing here, and this is where, let's suppose that this year I have a net income of $1 million.
Okay.
And it's okay, I'm looking at $1 million. Well, I have to pay taxes on $1 million. You add in all the plus all the Obamacare, all the state taxes, I'm going to be looking at a tax bill of $350. So now, after all of my hard work, I only have about $600,000 to reinvest into the business. Okay? So how many people am I not hiring because of the taxes I have to pay this year? How much am I slowing down the growth of my business because I'm getting, 40% of my war chest is destroyed? Okay. What this does, and this is what's so critical about this, is it allows you to make capital improvements and buy things, get things to help your business grow, and you don't have to pay, and it doesn't get counted against that $1 million. So I can actually go and buy up to $1 million worth of things and just funnel that back in. I'm not breaking the law. I'm using it what they want you to do. This is the number one thing, in my opinion, you could do to stimulate the economy, because this really incentivizes business owners to reinvest into their company, because you get to why would I want to pay? My goal is I don't really care, what I make in any year. I'm always building towards the future. I want to, really get. I'm trying to get to my dream, and the quicker I can do that, the better. It's not necessarily how much I'm saving this year, and that's the way many people are. That's the way we're thinking about it.
Yep.
And we'd much rather, our money go to our employees or a better system, so our employees are happier, than to the IRS. And this is really something that helps out tremendously.
Yay, Code 179.
Yeah,
All
this
right.
is good. This is good.
Good.
Yeah.
Okay, so next we'll talk about the Work Opportunity Tax Credit.
Opportunity Tax Credit. Oh, wait, one more thing, though, because it's sort of tied in.
Okay.
Bonus depreciation is sort of like the same thing.
Okay.
Because sometimes if you can't expenses all in 1 year, they're able to accelerate the bonus depreciation. Like you could do it in 2 years. Some things you could do in 2 years, which is pretty good, because if you buy it at the end of 2015, well, boom, it's basically the same thing. You have it, you're hedging, so it's not so bad. So bonus depreciation on a bunch of different things, same thing. That is something that kept the aircraft market alive. They had that, then they lost it. Now it's coming back. So private aircraft, that's something where you're able to get bonus depreciation. You're able to accelerate it quicker. So again, let's just say, well, my business has everything I need, but I don't want to pay all this taxes. So I'll take my $1 million in profit and get a nice new aircraft with it. And you're able to just deduct that maybe in 1 year, maybe 2 years, maybe 3 years, but it's a way to sort of, now there's a whole bunch of people who are building beautiful airplanes who now were able to sell it to somebody.
There you go.
Yeah.
Work Opportunity Tax Credit is extended through 2019. The Act also enhances the Work Opportunity Tax Credit for employers that hire certain long-term unemployed individuals. So if you hire people, that's good. Right.
And this I found out through, a lot of these things you never find out until you're actually doing your tax return. You're reading this, you're trying to make the best of it. And this is where I think the lesson I would want to teach people is start running your stuff through, having your CPA, having your tax pro, just run a few things through to see how some of the credits work. Because most of the time people aren't doing their credits through halfway through a year, and all these things change. And there's things that are out there that can blow your mind, that could be amazingly well. I know in 2012, as I'm cursing the Democrats and Obama, it was one of the best tax years for me because of some of the tax credits that were available that didn't get any press. I was blown away. I'm like, is this right? I'm like, I'm adding this up. I'm like, oh my God, this is amazing. Why don't people know about this? And it's like, and it's one of those things, people are so fixated on, well, here's the tax brackets. Here's the tax brackets. When you're working for yourself, those tax brackets start to mean less and less because there's so many other things to play around with as depreciation and expensing. And then also some of these credits. It's basically, I was hiring a lot of people. And so I kept on getting a credit and I didn't know until after the fact. And I was looking, and then in 2014, I believe it was 2014, I went to do it. And I was like, where's the tax credit?
Oh.
And then I looked online. It was reduced a little bit. I was like, because I hired the same amount of people and it was gone. And I'm like, I was really counting on that to be just as beautiful as it was. Because a tax credit is money to you. Mm-hmm. It's awesome. Now, the thing about tax credit is it goes on your AGI. So it boosts your income as well. And you have to pay taxes on your tax credit.
Yeah.
But, that's okay.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Like we said, it's sort of like when your buddy punches you in the face and then it helps you up to bring you to the hospital.
Yeah.
But I brought you to the hospital.
Yeah,
but you punched me in the face.
Yeah, so there's a lot more thing of the PATH Act. Just a lot more. And I hope we can cover these more as they develop. And I want to be running some things through. Again, a lot of the answers, no one knows until we run it through some of the advanced software.
Yep.
We use CCH ourselves. ProSeries is another one that's well known. And that these guys, right now, their techs are running a lot of the code through it to see how it comes up and to verify and test it, so that when you go, right now, if you're trying to go to a CPA or a tax advisor, say, okay, well, how's this exactly going to work? Honestly, we don't know yet. We have some general guidelines, and I have some pretty good ideas of what I want to do, but I'm not sure exactly, because just a slight difference in these credits can make a huge difference. Because one year it's, oh my God, this is great, and the other year is like, that's it? I got to do my math again. That can't be right.
All right. So what we're going to do is put some information on the website about the PATH Act. If you have questions, we'll put a link to the entire PATH Act, and you can peruse the document yourself. And if you have any questions or comments, leave them below, and we will get back to you. But thanks for listening to Parental Advisory. Thanks for joining Parental Advisory, hosted by Anthony Parent, produced by Claudine Gindel, that's me, engineered by Chris Chen. For more podcasts, visit our website at parentaladvisoryshow.com and like us on Facebook to submit story ideas. We'd like to thank our sponsors, IRSMedic.com, the law offices of Parent, and Wynn, LLP, real tax attorneys for tough tax problems.